Hi, hello. This is Cricket coming to you from the future to tell you that this is Cricket because I forgot to say so when I recorded the thing that you're about to hear. Yay. Hello, hello, and welcome to our annual recommendations episode. Um, we thought this would just be kind of a fun thing to do, shake things up a little bit, and allow us to give a chance to highlight some pieces, some of our favorite things from this past year in the Scorch. We're also going to have a little listy on Patreon to keep track of all the ones we've recommended, so this can help maybe serve as sort of a starter pack if people don't know where to jump in. People, the future hypothetical audience that maybe we'll get. So the first piece I want to talk about is one of my scorches that we did on the podcast this year, and it's from week 13. I wrote a piece called The Nevergreen Marsh. The prompt was, he's a human being, just like the rest of us. And then like a long pause. So I was really inspired by that, and I wrote this cool little story about a little group of adventurers, and some really supernatural spooky stuff happens to them. I just really had a lot of fun with that world. I've come back to those characters several times, and I feel like it's just like a really good piece of writing from me. And I'm really proud of it, so that's my scorch that I wanted to highlight for y'all. And then let's see. And then for somebody else, I immediately knew which scorch I wanted to do when I was thinking about who else to highlight. And I actually had to duel Octo for this one because she was like, I'm going to talk about that one. And I was like, no, you aren't. I'm going to talk about that one. And that is Octo for 220A. The prompt was, welcome to sunny Seabrook, where the sun always shines, chimes are always on the wind, and everything is perfectly normal. And Octo wrote this really interesting horror piece where you start out and you think things are fine, but then you realize that they're not fine, and then you realize you're in even more trouble than you thought you were. And when she wrote it initially, I remember reading it and just being like so taken by the flow of the piece and the rhythm of it, and then the way that the story unfolds. And then Octo's reading of it on the podcast is so good. I feel like you can like hear all the sound effects she describes. It's so, cannot say enough good things about Octo's piece, Seabrook. It's just glorious. And then the last thing I'm going to recommend is an Ember that is on our Patreon. I really wanted to highlight Grishmak because I really love the way that he writes. And just due to like a series of life circumstances and like the timing of when we, what number our episodes started at, we started in a point where Grishmak wasn't writing as much. And so you haven't heard him on the podcast that often. But like she has such good style. I love her writing. So I was like gonna recommend a Grishmak Ember. And the one that I chose to highlight is 219B, which you can find again on our Patreon. It was for Styx's prompt, a story about yokai, and Grishmak. They wrote this really creepy piece. My relationship to like horror and creepy things is so. I'm a softie and a wimp. And I'm not good at writing creepy stuff usually, but I am an enjoyer. Except for gore. I don't do gore. Anyways, so Grishmak wrote about this particular like legend about a woman with like a slashed open smile and kind of an origin story. It's such a creepy piece, but it's so well done. And so that's why I wanted to highlight that piece from Grishmak. I hope you enjoy our little recommendations episode, and if you're new, I hope this helps you find some fun starting points. Thanks for being here. Congrats, we've done a whole year. What? Keep those fires burning.
Hello, this is Red, and I'm here to give you my annual recommendations. So, starting off, my piece that I would like to recommend is Shoulders, which is 224A. It's a Scorch, so it's completely available. for audio. And also, if you go to our Patreon, there's a free tier where you can read it just as it was and is. The reason I'd like to recommend that Scorch is because I think it's just a fun snapshot. It's not a whole lot of commitment, and it's also well liked by the general masses, or at least the people who I've talked to. It's not a super intellectual piece or anything like that. It's really just something dorky that I am kind of proud of. I'm not going to say it's the best piece of writing in the world or anything like that, but it's really enjoyable, and I think that more people just need to read things for fun. They don't need to be complete masterpieces. So, there's that. The Scorch that I would like to recommend from somebody else would be Jonathan and Mott's, which is 226B. It's written by Styx. I think it's just a really fun time. Again, it's not super serious. It's really interesting. I like all the little twists in it, and honestly, I'm always a sucker for just weird bookshops. I love them in real life. I love them in fiction. And I think that it really just, grabs the, perfect strange bookshop ideal and puts it down on paper. And it's very odd, but it's very good, and I like it quite a bit. Now, the Ember that I would like to recommend is 217B, written by Bones. It's called The Seven Deadly Sins, I believe. It's nothing too serious, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah. This world, I believe, is the same world as one that just won the Scorch very recently, which is very enjoyable and fun too, but you're not going to see that for a really, really long time. I just think that this world is very interesting, and it's definitely one that's worth paying to read, because the story itself is pretty short. It might be less than 2 pages, honestly, but the lore that's put in the bottom as context is so interesting, and it really gives you a good idea of how in-depth Bones plans their stories. And I think it's just a really, not only a good time, but a very good introduction to that universe and everything that's happening with it. I don't know if I already said this, I probably did. But as I might have said, it's a play on the 7 deadly sins, and it's just very interesting. I feel like some 7 deadly sins tellings or retellings, or whatever you want to call it, are very scripted and don't really interest me all that much. Whereas this one really is so, it's just fun. I like it a lot, and I don't think it's, super stereotypical, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I don't read a whole lot of things about the 7 deadly sins. So, yeah. Those are my annual recommendations.
Hello, inmates. A late Merry Christmas from Peixe, that's me, and Happy New Year's to everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed the holidays and kept those fires burning. So, this is an anniversary episode. Isn't that exciting? A special little bonus episode we're doing for you guys. January 2025 marks a year since we started releasing podcast episodes in January of 2024. That is crazy to me. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone in StellaCorps for contributing time and effort and ideas and your voices to this project. Special thank yous to Bones for editing and uploading all of our episodes, to Cricket for working diligently on all of the transcripts, which are all free on Patreon, and to Red for running the Tumblr and the Instagram and being our social media person. And of course, a huge thank you to all of you, our lovely inmates, for showing up to listen, for supporting us. Y'all have been a real highlight on this journey. Right. As exciting as all that is, January 2025 may be the 1-year anniversary, a whole year, of the podcast. But it is also the 7-year anniversary of the Cell Block Scorch as a writing contest, way back in January of 2018. It's insane to me that we've been running for so long and picked up so many awesome members along the way. Stella Core are a group of 10 very, very different individuals, but we are all awesome, and I'm really happy to be part of this. Hopefully, someday I can be like those famous authors who say that they still work with their college writing groups. Let's keep hoping. So I thought I'd share a little story, since it's the anniversary, of how the Cell Block Scorch got its name. Figured you guys might be interested, since y'all get the fandom name Inmates from Cell Block. So, Bones and I got together to name it originally, and we had exactly one joint experience in naming a club previously, and that is a story for another day. So, we had a nice tried and true method. We each pulled up a random word generator. Very, professional of us, I know. We click go, each of us sees a list of however many random words. We look through our options on our own screen, and we choose in our heads which word is best, which one we like. Then it's 3, 2, 1, and we both say out loud our word. Mine was Scorch, and Bones said Cell Block. Obviously, we couldn't be the Scorch Cell Block. That sounds gross. So we've been the Cell Block Scorch ever since. We thought it sounded very cool. We are very cool. It is very cool. This is great. You guys are cool. Everything's cool. Anniversary episode. Let's go. Are y'all not entertained? Sorry, I'm clearly, energetic right now. Okay, on to the actual topic of the episode. Sorry, I ramble a lot. We are making some listening recommendations for you guys based on our personal tastes. First recommendation is one of our own pieces, and I picked my 20, Forest of the Dead. If you're a long-time listener, you heard this one in an episode that aired back in May. Let me summarize it. It's a fairy tale-esque story about a forest that doubles as a graveyard. And the story goes into the relationship between the villagers and the forest. I recommend this one because I really enjoy the way I portrayed the importance of the connection between the living and the dead, and the way I played with the power of perception. I think I did well with capturing the emotional beats I wanted, and it feels like a cohesive story. So check that out if you like a nice fairy tale vibe with some deeper meanings, which I love, obviously, but, everybody's got different tastes. Next up, somebody else's work. I picked 14, Dancing Blue. This is the writing of our lovely, scary boss, Bones. This is also available as an episode. It came out as an episode in April. Dancing Blue. This one is really beautiful. I cry every time that I read it. I cried right before recording this, actually. So I'm sorry if I sound a little stuffy. I had to go through and read my recommendations again, It's just so deeply touching. Quick summary is, we are in the point of view of a woman that just died, and she's getting her first glimpse of the afterlife. It's a stunning piece. It can be painful, but it's joyful too. I really love joyful depictions of the afterlife, or death. I guess that's super obvious, given that I just recommended Forest of the Dead and now also this one. Oops. But I love them so much because they reflect what I know to be true. Death is simply another step in life. It isn't something to be too afraid of. There's beauty in the cycle, even though there's also pain. I think this Scorch by Bones does such a lovely, perfect job depicting that. Depicting the tragedy of loss and the beauty of reunion and just the soft, sweet, emotional experience. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of most of the stuff Bones writes. I mean, it's pretty obvious by now, but... Okay, last rec from me. This one is an Ember. Let me remind y'all real quick what those are, in case you jumped in on this episode, or you're an inmate who like me, can never remember terminology. Judges prompt every week. They select a favorite writing from the submissions they receive. Those winning picks are what we call the scorches that get recorded as podcast episodes. The submissions that haven't been recorded are still released on the Patreon. We call those ones embers because the embers of a fire tend to be hotter than flames, and they stay warm even after the fire dies down. I think it's a nice way to differentiate. So, the ember I picked is 233 Gwilliam by our darling Cricket. Because it's an ember, there's no episode to listen to, and you'd have to subscribe to our Patreon to read it, which I promise you, we have so many embers on there for y'all to read, and all of them are so good. It's worth it to subscribe real quick, at least until you catch up. Then you can cancel and come back once we're chock full of stuff you haven't even seen yet. It's only $5 a month. Give it a shot. Anyway, Gwilliam is a great piece. To quickly summarize, Gwilliam is just a regular guy at university with his own personal, mundane struggles. I love this piece. It's short, and it's simple, and it's relatable, and it really, really tugs at my heartstrings. I love Cricket's ability to present a completely average college classroom scenario with very normal people and write it in a way that still sucks you into the emotion of the character. I am not good at that. I always resort to fantastical world building and exaggerated drama because I really struggle with writing slice of life typed interactions. I actually get made fun of a lot in Stellacore because I'll usually be like, humans? Ew, gross. Why would anyone write humans when they could write vampires or werewolves or witches or whatever, dragons and, all the stuff I write. But a lot of that has to do with me not being very good at writing humans. Anyway, Cricket is so good at it. And Gwilliam is a great example. Highly recommend y'all check it out. It kind of follows the theme of what I liked in my other two recommendations, actually. Y'all can really see what my personal taste is, in that I like to feel strong emotions when I read. And I really empathized with the main character here, whose name is Gwilliam. I do not know why his name is Gwilliam, but it sure is a funny name. But the emotions are definitely less drastic in this one than in my piece and Bones' piece that I recommended. But those are my recommendations. I appreciate Bones limiting us to 3 each because some of us, me, tend to talk for ages, and we don't want the episodes to be like 3 hours each. But I actually have a recommendation for a piece from each different member of Stellacore because I didn't want to leave anybody out. So I will drop a comment on Spotify under this episode with the full list in minimal detail. Probably like no details, honestly. I'll probably just write Scorch member, Scorch I recommend, or Ember I recommend. So that'll be there. And if you're hoping that I'll finally shut up now, keep wishing, because I have updates to give. So I have a Peixe link tree now, and it opens with a link to my X account, formerly Twitter. This is where I post my reactions to media. Right now we've got some K-pop stuff, the whole Epic the Musical rundown, which, by the way, check that out. That's a fun time. And I'm trying, keyword trying, to marathon Brandon Sanderson's books. So comments on those books will appear as I work through them. If you know anything about Brandon Sanderson as an author, you know that he has a very, very extensive, I keep wanting to say discography. Discography is music. What do you call that for books? He has an extensive bookshelf. No, there's a word for that. I can't think of it off the top of my head, so I'll be sad about that. But he's got a lot of work. He's got a lot of books. So there will be a lot of content for that. But anyway, basically my X is for like, oh, I'm listening to an album through for the first time. I'll put my first impressions in there. And yes, they will be my opinions, which may occasionally be different from other people's. And that is okay because taste is 100% subjective. And they will also be my first impressions. So maybe I'll listen to something and hate it when I listen to it the first time. But then I will love it when I listen to it months later. Like Set Me Free by Jimin. But that aside, that's what the X is for. Commenting on TV episodes I'm watching, books I'm reading, music I'm listening to, etc., etc. Next link on my link tree is my Ko-fi? Don't know how that's pronounced. Coffee, maybe? Because it's got the little coffee emojis. I don't know. I like Ko-fi personally because it sounds like Wi-Fi, but who knows? Y'all can give me a little tip there or a donation if you really, truly want to. I would be shocked if anyone enjoys listening to my writing or my rambling enough to do that. So if you really want to make my day, that's what that's for. Next link is just a playlist of the Scorch episodes that are mine, that I wrote. So if you click on the username under that playlist, it's my Peixe Spotify. So you can see all of my Spotify playlists, which is basically a compilation of episodes by each different member of Stella Corps. You can click on it and be like, oh, these are all Grishmak episodes, or these are all Styx episodes, or whatever. As well as the episodes arranged in a bunch of different orders. I have them separated by seasons, and I have them in order of when they were written, and I have them in order of how they aired as episodes. So yeah, I'm a big fan of over-organizing everything. So those should be pretty comprehensive. Then we have a link to my YouTube channel. I am trying to not make this self-promotion part longer than my recommendation part, and I will feel bad if that is not the case. So let me talk quicker. Anyway, YouTube channel. I have no videos up quite yet, but I am currently editing a Christmas show and tell because those are some of my favorite videos to watch. Pretty much everything I post is going to be the type of video that I like to watch. So if you don't like those, that's to each their own. Totally fine. But the channel plans so far are K-pop unboxings, shopping hauls, opening makeup, that kind of thing. Might do some fandom-related tier rankings if I feel really motivated. And don't expect the Christmas show and tells to be posted soon, inmates. I promise it will be done by end of January. That's late, but not really late for Christmas, but not too crazy. I am a full-time college student, and I have a part-time job, so go easy on me, please. Anyway, next link is my Instagram, which I think is a hilarious place. I post pictures of products that I'm finished using or consuming with my honest reviews of them. I think it's funny because I only take pictures once I'm done, so they're basically pictures of trash. But I do link the products, and the companies have great photos up. That's their job. So I figure it doesn't matter if my brand is pictures of trash. I think it's really funny. Anyway, next link I have up is my Archive of Our Own account, Peixe Writes. Currently, all I have on there is Cellbox Scorch stuff. Ooh, including some Embers, actually. So you can sneak a look at those for free without paying for our Patreon. But, working on some Harry Potter fanfic, some Teen Wolf, stuff like that to post there eventually. But the going is slow because the fish lady, she is busy, people. Okay. Then it's my Tumblr, which is a warm and friendly place where all I do is, number one, reblog the Cellbox Scorch official account, which, by the way, I was looking through the Cellbox Scorch official Tumblr and Instagram the other day, and Red does a really good job of, giving teases of the pieces, but also of posting the prompts, just, with cool fonts on top of, a background. It's very Canva, but I think it's so cool because if you are listening to this and you are a writer, which honestly, I would personally feel like the majority of our audience would either be people who really, really like to read fiction, or people who like audiobooks, or people who are also aspiring writers. So if you take a look at our Tumblr and our Instagram, we post prompts all the time. And they are prompts that, we've written for, but they are also prompts that it would be super cool for, some of you guys to see and be like, huh, I like that. I'm going to write a story to that. Which, if you do, you should totally tag us, because I think that would be the coolest thing ever to read a piece by one of you inmates that was inspired by one of our prompts. I think that would be possibly the coolest creative interaction ever. So do that. Check that out. Those are cool. Anyway, what I do on my Tumblr is reblog those and also post little scripture thoughts, Bible verses and stuff like that. Last link on my page, I promise, is a direct line to the Stella Corps link tree, which connects you to the team of friends and all our collective projects, which obviously you're at least a little bit familiar with if you are listening to the Cellbox Scorch podcast, which is currently our main export. I think that's all of my updates. Thank goodness. Actually, I started editing draft 3 of my book, so that is also exciting. I will let you guys know if I ever make it to querying or if I ever make it to publishing. Pray for me. Anyway, love y'all. Thank you for listening. Please, please, please check out the recommendations I gave and also the recommendations that the others gave. We recommend them because they are good and because we think that y'all will enjoy them. Thank you for listening. Keep those fires burning. Goodbye, darling inmates.
Hey guys, it's Bones again. I thought I'd just pop back on the end to wrap this all together. We have a recommendation section on our Patreon, and I will be listing out the 2024 recs, putting all of the links to the transcripts and embers on there so they'll be easy to find if you want to check them out. I just wanted to thank everyone who supported the podcast so far. Just the fact that people are listening is thrilling to us, and a special shout out to our patrons. We love you guys. Even if you aren't a patron, you are loved and appreciated, and we hope to keep providing you with quality entertainment. You can support us without spending any money by leaving a review on the podcast, participating in the polls, interacting with our social media posts, and sharing episodes you loved with people who would enjoy them. It's been a fun project to work on all year, and I look forward to keeping it up. Some of my favorite pieces are yet to come, and I can't wait to share them with you all. Happy New Year, everyone. May all your goals be realized, and keep that fire burning. The Cell Block Scorch is a production of Stellacore, an independent group of nerds sharing their obsessions with the world. Links to all our projects, including Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, Patreon, and Ko-Fi, can be found on our Linktree, posted in each episode description. Follow us on Tumblr or Instagram to see the prompt of the day before the episode drops, and a quote from each Scorch the day after. If you would like to support our creative endeavors, you can give a one-time tip to the Ko-Fi of the writer of your favorite Scorches, or check out our Patreon. There, you can access the Scorches and episode transcripts for free, or sign up for Spark level support for $5 a month to gain access to our embers as well.